All right, everybody, welcome back to Stinker, Drinker, Thinker. We are three guys. We pour some pours, we make some cocktails, and we rank them in this ridiculous ranking system we've developed. And tonight we finally have someone here to tell us how ridiculous we are. My name is Anthony Longano. I am joined by my co-host, Troy, the body of a Gladi. Troy, say hello.
Why, hello, everyone.
And then there's Matt McKibble.
Yeah, hello.
Say hello.
Oh, hi. Hey, how's it going?
Oh.
Hey. Hello, hey, oh, hey.
And then we are joined by Raj Shukla, who just got off the, if you guys have watched Netflix at all, he was just on Drink Masters on there. Raj, introduce yourself.
Hello, podcast space.
I told him this off air. I'll tell him it on air. I'm a huge fanboy of yours. I'm very happy you're on my couch. We have a couch sponsorship now. Raj says he's going to.
Oh, sweet. Wait, that's a different sponsorship for couches. Sorry.
You are a woodworker, aren't you?
I do build some furniture.
Yeah. Okay.
Nice.
Okay.
All right. Build some furniture. Yeah.
10 years ago, I moved to Fort Wayne, Indiana, from good old fashioned, shitty New Jersey, and to say the least, I don't miss anything about New Jersey. Sorry to all my friends and family there, except for the food and the hospitality industry there. I think is probably some of the best, at least in our country. And I'm sure you two have traveled and maybe experienced different things, but that's where I know at least the most about it. But over the last at least 5 or 6 years, this town, I mean, I think there's, and you can back me up on this maybe, I think there's even been some studies that say that Fort Wayne is the #1 growing culinary and cocktail city in America. Or at least, not #1, but on the list of top growing cities.
This is where I have the disclaimer.
Disclaimer. We speak in 100% of the time, we speak in absolutes in this podcast. And 60% of the time, it's getting better. Actually, I'm going to say 55% of the time, we're wrong. And Raj accounts for the other 5% of rightness tonight.
Works for me.
But you worked at some of the best bars I've been to in this town. That's the point I'm getting at here. And one that we've talked about quite a few times on this podcast, Copper Spoon. And you were at Mercado, which I've had some amazing drinks at. Obviously, I think you won a competition a few years ago for 5th ranked bartender in America.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean,
Shit.
how did you get into that here? Like, where did that all start? I mean,
Absolutely. Yeah. I guess if you really want to get down to the nitty gritty, it all started at a little place called Applebee's, folks.
Get out of here.
No way.
Small little neighborhood place. You know, you might have been to it. I never saw you come into Applebee's and see me when I was making drinks at Applebee's.
No.
Yeah, where the fuck were you then? Huh?
Yeah, where was I?
You're not a real fanboy.
I was
if you didn't see
probably.
it.
You didn't know about
Yeah, I was probably at Olive Garden drinking Chianti.
Ooh.
Yeah.
But we had the perfect margarita.
Oh my God, was that you?
That was me.
Yeah.
You invented the perfect margarita?
I can't take the credit for that one, but no, I mean, to your point, really the scene has really grown and a whole lot, and I account that for a lot of things. I think one of the biggest things, really, possibly too, could be our proximity to like so many other bigger cities that kind of have made out niches for themselves as far as like their neighborhoods and their culinary cocktail everything, their journey, right? So I definitely think you're right. In the last like 6 to 10 years, we've definitely seen a big uptick. And it started somewhere, I mean, it started probably longer ago, more than that. People start using fresher ingredients and really giving a damn what they're putting into a glass or on a plate.
Yeah. Where was your first, like, I guess, like, elevated cocktail experience in town before maybe you were working on the scene?
In town, so when I got out of like upper management, which I was doing for about 10 years in the hospitality world, I've done pretty much everything you can think of in a restaurant. So I'm no stranger to busting suds in the tank or cleaning out when people puke in the back of a toilet and they put the lid back on that. There's a term for that. I don't know what
Upper
it's called.
decker, but
Yeah,
it's
but-
usually with other things besides
Yeah,
throw up,
this was coming from up here, not from down below.
Yeah.
Because
The upper
I was
decker.
working at this place in New Haven, and someone was like, "It really smells in the bathroom. We just cleaned it. What does that stink?" And I was like, "Oh God!" So I went in there, opened the back of the tank, and there it was. I was like, "Someone's got to clean this out," and I had to help clean it up. So, but no, I would.
That was
say-
your first elevated drink in Fort Wayne?
I don't know what they were drinking. But
Yeah.
It was definitely elevated. Yeah.
Yeah, it was elevated. But no, I would say when I got out of management, just wanted to get back into making drinks, doing what I love, right? I knew there was like 2 places in town that were doing it downtown where I wanted to be. I been in Fort Wayne since about 2002, 2003, and in hospitality most of my career. So kind of keeping my ear to the ground, seeing what's happening in downtown back in 2006. 2015, somewhere back there. There was either the Golden, with Sean Richardson, Aaron Butts, or there was at the time Wind Down. There was a couple bartenders there that I'd heard of that were doing some pretty dope things. And they were all on this idea, this path, this trajectory, doing something more than what everyone else is doing, right? So I was like, I gotta get a job, I gotta pay these bills, and I've only had a mortgage for 6 months or a year. I'm like, I gotta keep paying this mortgage, right?
Unfortunately.
So I went to Golden, put in an application, went over to Wind Down, talked to Gary Skeel, their owner, and I was just like, I just need a job. It was my credentials. I knew both of them, mutually, so it wasn't like a nerve-wracking interview. And so I ended up going to Copper Spoon only because I knew they were going to do something really cool and special with their food, with their drinks. The drinks were already taken off. And I would go there after work when I was still managing. I would get off of work around 7 or 8, and I'd go sit at the bar rail at Copper Spoon, Wind Down, and have them make me a good classic, Aviations, Last Words, Negronis, you name it, and then the fun stuff that was on the menu.
Yeah.
And at the time, it was still kind of classic forward, just because they're approachable. When done correctly, they're amazing, and people can drink them. People can, do that. So, yeah, that's where I had my first elevated drink. Before that, it was just, I'm a huge beer drinker. I love drinking beer. Okay. On top of drinking cocktails and wine and everything else. But I was a big beer guy, so I'd, go to breweries and all of our craft breweries here we have in town, which I thought was huge for us to have all these options for drinking
we got
craft
two
beer.
Toms. I'm like, oh my God, we have a pretty good beer now. All right.
Yeah, I mean, they're all doing an amazing job. I love all those guys doing their thing, guys and girls both. So, yeah, Wind Down was the place.
Okay.
I think that was mine first too. I remember we went to Death & Co. in New York City, and I told someone about it at work, and they're like, oh, have you been to the Copper Spoon? And I was like, oh, no, I haven't. And I think that was the first time I ever had an actually proper made drink in this town. I've been to Applebee's a bunch.
I think you have this cocktail or whatever this is at Applebee's. This is where he learned this.
Oh, yeah. What is this that you made us here?
Yeah.
Raj?
So, as your guest, I always like to bring a little amuse-bouche or something special, and it's that time of the year where gravy backs are start coming around. So I don't know if you guys are familiar.
I just feel like I knew it,
but
I don't want to say it.
We're doing, and when I was working at Copper Spoon, kind of in the fall, early winter months, and it kind of caught traction. I've heard of other people doing it across the country in dive bars and other places or whatever. But for us, it was we've got a really fucking great chef who can make really great gravy. We've got really good brown spirits behind our bar, mostly a lot of great really wild turkey products. So I was like, you know what? Gravy, whiskey, what can go wrong, right?
Yeah. Literally nothing can go wrong.
Well, hopefully, hopefully it's still warm. We'll see.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, we'll see. So,
Let's do it.
Whiskey first, and then some gravy there, fellas.
All right.
Cheers. Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, appreciate everything.
Cheers.
Troy? Yeah. Choo. Ooh.
That's a pretty good fucking gravy.
Oh my God.
Thanksgiving's upon us, and I
I'm trying to drink that all day.
This will kind of tie into the cocktail I'll be making you fine fellas here in a little bit.
Which brings us, Matt, what are we actually doing tonight?
Well, what are we doing tonight? I believe we're having some extraordinary cocktail, and then at that point, we're going to drink and enjoy it, and then we're going to talk about some other stuff. That's about it.
Thanks, Matt.
You got it.
Honestly, I thought this would be a good opportunity because we talk about this on here a bunch. At least me and Troy talk about this here. So I am 100% an amateur at making drinks. Just been around people who make drinks, and if I don't like the way things are done, I'll usually just go and learn how to do them better myself, type of thing. That's something I've always tried to do. Troy obviously is worked in the house. He's a sommelier. He's worked in crazy restaurants. He's the bar manager at Connor's Rooftop Bar, which that's a recent thing. So if you've been there before he was the manager, you should probably go again because he's making good stuff.
Don't hold it against him.
It's a day, Troy.
Yeah. But I mean, something we talk about on the show all the time is just things you can do at home to not just be an average at-home bartender, just things you can do to elevate at home. And obviously, you've worked in a lot of upscale or commercial grade facilities where you have materials and proper ice and crazy good spirits and a distributor that brings you things that Fort Wayne doesn't stock in their liquor stores, which because their liquor stores are pretty skim here. But we asked you to make you a signature, or we asked you to make us a signature cocktail, which we're super excited about. But I would also just love to know, and maybe something we can really focus on over this episode. And then Raj is going to join us for another episode where he's going to rip me and Troy's asshole open because we're going to make him drinks. But, you know, maybe just some things like if you go to someone's house, like you're at my house tonight, and they're like, hey, Raj, make us some drinks. Like, how do you adapt? And what are some things that you do, like, in that environment where you don't have the proper ice to shake or stir with or you know, that type, or like spirit substitutions and that kind of thing?
No, totally. So to answer your multiple part kind of question there, because there's a lot of great answers I could give you and a lot of bullshit too. But I would say, obviously, making drinks at home kind of begins with what kind of a culinary person are you, right? We'll use the word culinary kind of loose right now. But I believe, like, on a previous episode, Miss Molly was talking about she loves to bake, cook, and science, right? Mm-hmm. Same thing going with making drinks, right? Even if you're working at, you know, Applebee's, Hooters, Chili's, you know, they have a manual. They have, you know, specs on how to make their drinks, you know, that someone else has created for their entire company, right? But then, you know, taking it home, you're going to do the exact same thing, right? You got to have tools. You got to have some knowledge. You got to be able to follow directions. If you're going to be doing it off like the internet, right, and you want to do it at home. So I would say first starting off with like tools is a good thing, right? So depending on how culinary you are, you might not have everything that I might have in my kitchen, right? I love to cook. I love to make drinks at home. My girlfriend's the same way. She loves cooking. I usually make all the drinks for us. So just if you have those tools, it's really going to help you make those elevated, better tasting drinks, I believe, when you are at home, right? Everyone's got, you know, probably a measuring glass, maybe a jigger even, you know, if you've been to, you can get them at Kroger now, I believe.
Yeah,
you know,
I saw that.
OXO, Target, whatever. They're all there. So you don't have to go to any specialty store to get those tools. So definitely start off with the right tools, you know, have those things. If you're going to elevate even more, you know, get a digital scale that can read, you know, volume and grams. Someone's like, you can be accurate too, right? If you're a home baker, you're probably already using a scale for a lot of your stuff, right? Because as you know, it's got to be the perfect temperature, perfect weight. You just can't, you know, take a level and level off like a whole cup of flour. People like want like the actual grams or whatever it is, right? Because it's going to matter.
Yeah.
Same thing with making elevated, better drinks, right? So definitely have the right tools. There's tons of great resources, I'm sure, online that you can go check out if you don't know what you need. But, you know, something to mix a drink in, stirring spoon, you know, preferably without the red little cap on the end of it. Those are jokes, you know. Buy one.
That's one I was using for years. I inherited that from my mother.
Yeah, you know, I mean.
I remember that spoon.
Everyone's kind of got one. You're always like, what the fuck is this thing? Like, why is this red thing on here?
It broke off and I glued it back on like 10 times.
It's meant to be like a counterweight, you know. It's kind of like give it extra weight, which is like going to help you with like your technique, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, you know, get those items, and then, you know, maybe a cocktail shaker, you know, those little stainless steel things.
Instead of pint glasses.
Or the pint glass and metal, you know, those work as well. You know, I mean, you got to start somewhere, right? So yeah,
I use pint glass as a mixing glass for years.
Those are perfect. You know, a lot of people use those still, and they work out great. You know, you don't have to have the nice, beautiful, you know, $60, $70 glass Yari or the, you know, triple insulated stainless steel vacuum sealed mixing vessel that you can pop in your freezer and it's super cold and it makes great drinks with. You know, you don't need all that stuff. You just need the basics, right? So start out with great tools. After that, you know your recipes, right? I've watched a couple of the episodes of the podcast, and you guys clearly know, you know, stuff. You guys know a lot about drinks and classics, which is awesome. I love that.
Yeah.
Kudos. I mean, I wish more people knew, you know, the classics.
We're big classic cocktail guys, and honestly, a lot of the riffs we built are just kind of based off those principles and those codexes of those classic.
Yeah, it's what it starts
cocktails.
with. You know, I see you got, you know, great literature sitting right over there now. You know,
I literally just said codex, and there's a book
Exactly,
called Cocktail Codex.
Do you remember
right
your
there.
first drink you felt like you, I guess it's the pun, didn't mean to, that you actually like mastered, that you felt like this is like, I have this nailed down, like this is perfect for me? Or
yeah, so when I first started making drinks, I was living downtown West Central, and probably the best apartment you can get in Fort Wayne downtown for the price. It was great. But I remember there was months there before I started working at Wine Down Copper Spoon, where I was like, I'm just gonna do nothing but drink mint juleps at home every night. Just nothing but mint juleps.
All right.
Until they're
He's
perfect.
offended.
Yeah.
Yeah, Matt hates mint.
No, that's fine.
Yeah.
I was
I don't
making
judge
mint
you.
juleps every night. You know, I bought the schmallet. I bought a Lewis bag to crush ice in too, because I didn't have like a pellet machine, obviously.
A Lewis bag?
A Lewis bag.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's the bag you put the ice in, and you hit it with the
Smash the ice.
mallet, and it crushes the ice.
A canvas bag. Yeah.
Yep.
So In a
learning
pinch,
over
it
here.
works great.
Yeah,
But I was just at
always.
home, like just tweaking my recipe, and I was just drinking those every night. Go get some fresh mint. I had mint growing outside, and then different glassware, different swizzling techniques, length, duration, amount of ice, 2 ounces, 1.5 ounces, this much bitters, that much bitters, all these things, just to see, like, is it different? Does it make a difference? And I just got good at making mint juleps. They're a really easy drink to make if you know how to make them correctly. They're really simple. They taste fantastic. So that was probably the first one, and then I just took that deep nosedive and jumping back to at your house. It's all about that knowledge part. We talked about tools, now it's about knowledge. There's tons of awesome literature out there that can give you like the building blocks and the foundation. I mean, it all kind of started back in 2002, 2003. There was a huge cocktail renaissance happening, like in all the big cities, Boston, LA, New York, San Fran, Chicago. And a lot of these like books came out of like, those cities, and people like, more than just Jerry Thomas and people that, are like the OGs of cocktails, right? Newer, people were making them from bars like Death and Co. And, Jim Meehan was involved with a lot of that stuff, places. And so, yeah, and those books are easily accessible. So I definitely recommend, if you're going to be like making things at home, grab one of those books. If anything, just for the pictures alone, because there's pictures in there that are awesome looking. I mean, there really are some cool pictures.
Inspiration.
Yeah, but the classics are spot on, It's just what it is. You can deviate a little bit from that, but I wouldn't deviate too far down the road until you're like ready for that. Just stick to it and follow the instructions, and before you know it, you're going to be like, well, if I put this in there instead of that, I wonder what's going to happen. And then you're going to do it.
Yep.
And then you're going to be like, holy shit, I just made a riff. And now you're a mixologist, right?
Yeah.
And you're like, holy shit.
I'm buying a shaker.
Yeah. I'm going to like small Japanese ones and do this.
About the technique.
Yeah. I will say like a hard part for sure, and I'm spoiled because I've gotten to work in a lot of amazing restaurants and bars, and getting products are a little bit easier for us maybe than it would be going to like Cap and Cork, Belmont, S&B, any liquor store that we have. I mean, if we were in Chicago, you'd be going to Benny's, and it'd be a no-brainer.
Yeah.
You can get whatever you
I
want
love
there.
Benny's. Yeah.
Oh, dude. Even places like Total Wine sometimes has some really good options as well. You
Yeah.
know, but our liquor stores are getting better. But I was spoiled because I could get those funky weird Amaros. I can get the Brunels and all the other weird Amaro and Amari and what have you. So it was great working there because we had the option to do a lot of R&D, experiments, very inexpensively do all those things, right? And you try to distributors and get some fun bottles and things like that, right? But I do understand that when you're at home, you just can't go and buy a bottle of this or that. Like right now, I was actually at Meijer last night buying stuff for tonight, and I ran into an old regular of ours, mine. She's great, and saw her in the liquor aisle, just hanging out. She's like, hey, how you been? What's going on?
Raj, I miss you. Come back and make me
and
please.
then like, I was like, hey, cool, and we go our different ways. She's down here looking at something. I'm down here looking at something. And then she's like, hey, do you see any green chartreuse? And I was like, no, babe, there's no green chartreuse.
Not at Meijer.
not at Meijer.
And
I mean,
honestly,
I see where your head's at, but
Yeah.
there's like a huge shortage apparently going on
There
with
is.
everybody. Yeah,
I mean, there was with Amaro. You couldn't find a Werner or Nonino for like 6 months here.
it's crazy because now everyone's like hip to the whys of like, shit, like this stuff's fun. It tastes good. Like I'm gonna start drinking this, and I was like, hey, the best advice: go up north. Go to like Angola. She's going to Chicago this weekend, and like making
Go
drinks.
to
for her
Gaze
friends.
or something like
That's
that.
what I said. Like, hey, go check
Gaze
out,
has
like,
a
Gaze,
great
like, 'cause they
liqueur
have a
and
lot of
Amaro
stuff, but
selection.
It's like, you run the gamble, but like people up there in Angola and Kendallville know what green chartreuse is. Maybe I hope so.
Eventually.
No,
Yeah, they will.
Gaze is always stocked. I mean, they just got bought up by Big Red Liquors
Did
too,
they?
just like
Oh,
Cap and
okay.
Cork.
Yeah. It's all become one big conglomerate.
Which makes me happy because then I'm hoping, not to get too political here, but I'm hoping that a place like Total Wine can move into Fort Wayne because I think it would be huge for the city, honestly.
Yeah, we'll see.
I actually, only to the contrary, just because I happened to head in the opposite direction. I headed down south to Carmel, Indiana, which is basically pretty much Indianapolis, and I went to Vine and Table down there, and that place is extraordinary.
Yep.
For liqueurs and Amaro and stuff like that.
everything.
Yeah, I haven't been yet.
Yes.
And that's also owned by Big Red.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I couldn't stop talking about it. I was like, Troy, you have to go here.
I had a fucking field day.
Is it like better than Gaze selection or?
Their wine selection's incredible.
The wine selection, I mean, the answer is yes.
Okay.
Yes.
But apparently there's 4 Total Wines within 5 miles of each other in Indy and Carmel and Noblesville.
Greenwood or Greenfield?
Yeah,
Greenwood,
Greenfield. Yeah, I mean, it's just got to work its way up here because I am so sick. I have I apologize. I have friends at some of the liquor stores here, but I am just like turnover rate's terrible. I can't make any like actual relationships with people. I know Matt's gotten a few, but like I need that type of spirit and like even just like bitters besides Angos and orange bitters. Like I need something, man.
At least we're not state run. That's all.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, we could be in Virginia, but
we're New Hampshire.
Moving on, man. What are you making us tonight?
So tonight I am bringing back a signature drink I created a couple years back. During this time of the year, you know, it's kind of wet and snowy outside here in Northeast Indiana. So it's a drink called All the Fixins. If you've ever seen me behind the stick at Copper Spoon, let's say 2019, maybe somewhere in there, you might have seen this on the menu, but it's kind of the version 1 of it. It's a fun little play on some people were calling it like an old fashioned in a way. I mean, it's kind of more of a weird modified sour style cocktail, but it's stirred, nice stirred and boozy drink. It's got a little punch to it, which is great, but it's everything that I think about when I think Thanksgiving. You know, I've got family kind of here in town all over, and, you know, I think about seasons and stuff a lot when I'm making drinks and getting creative. I think about, you know, drinking seasonally, cooking seasonally, making drinks seasonally if I can, based on ingredients and what we have. So I was like, you know, like Thanksgiving, okay, Thanksgiving, you know, what can we do for Thanksgiving? I was like, turducken, you know, the turkey and the duck and the chicken, Thanksgiving dinner, you know, all these things, you know, burnt leaves outside, you know, all these things came to my mind. I was like, all right, let's make a drink. So, yeah, that's what we're going to have tonight.
Okay.
I'm excited.
You want to make it first and then tell us what's in it?
In the world of TV magic, actually, here they come right now.
So, this cocktail break.
Leslie, thank you.
Before we do that,
Come on.
No. Before, that was nice. Nice try, bud. I'm the host, all right?
Oh, wow.
Miami, you can slap me.
No. One time we did an episode on here where me and Troy had a cocktail competition, and me and him went one-on-one. We had a couple guest judges. You know, I'll save him in the embarrassment, but I won. And his final drink in his final round, where we were tied, was a duck fat washed bourbon cocktail. Sounds like you're gonna fat wash something.
Someone's got some fat going on.
Don't give the spoilers away.
All right, no, I mean I'm just making some guesses here.
All right.
I want you to know that if you're fat washing anything, it has to be better than what Troy did.
I honestly have never had any of Troy's beverages, but I would assume that his drinks are. And
I will say one thing about it, and I can't guarantee it, but there is a chance that the duck fat that I had might have been in my fridge too long.
So this is possible. 6 months later, and we've argued about this a million times. That's the first time you're telling me that your fat was tainted.
I'm just saying.
What color was it?
Can we?
What's that?
What color was it?
It was like, you know, like off-white.
Off-white?
Okay. Yeah.
Did you kill that duck yourself?
It was brown.
Oh, yeah.
That's what I'm talking about.
I made a...
You got one of those bags from the canvas bags?
I got the fat from making a duck cassoulet.
Which was really good, by the way. That was
I did have
fantastic.
That
was real good. I will say that the drink was great, Raj. Mine was just better.
Never gonna see that.
We're very competitive. We're like
this
brothers.
This is why he's cocktail doctor number one.
What man, I think I made. It was like a Brooklyn riff that I made.
Yeah, I was actually just.
You played it safe, and he went crazy. That's all I'm gonna say.
Yeah, it was some sort of riff on a Brooklyn that I made, and it came. Honestly,
there was a red wine cordial involved.
I made a red wine cordial. I totally forgot.
Yeah,
we were 6.
You know how you go? Okay, wait, you ready? All right, Shelby, just look up here, and Shelby's going to put the episode up here.
Yeah, Shelby.
A link to it. That's okay. I don't remember what episode, but we'll talk about it. Yeah. That's how YouTube works, right?
Yeah, it's on there.
There you go.
Anyway, let's take a break. Raj's going to make that drink for us, and then we'll drink it and talk about it.
It's right over there. Look.
Oh, here it comes.
Cocktail break. And welcome back from Cracker Break. It's Cracker Breaks brought to you by, what is it, Eastie Boy Bread Company, as always. Returning sponsor. Thank you so much, Kyle and Courtney. We got crackers if you want to give one a try. If you don't, then I don't even know what to tell you because they're delicious. But more importantly, Troy.
Yes.
We have a pun for you.
Oh, thank God. It's been a while.
If pronouncing my B's as V's makes me sound Russian, then so be it.
Yeah, please chew into the microphone. We can get that over with. That was terrible.
That was come on.
Did someone submit that?
I won't tell you.
Did someone submit that?
No. Anthony,
Are you sparing them?
yes. Thank you. You know who you are. Who submitted that?
I didn't hate it.
I need to know. I need to know who that was.
We will never speak your name again. We have stuff to do.
All right. Yeah.
It's true.
Well, what did you make us? Oh, you got a cracker in your mouth.
Sorry, I just wanted to enjoy that back end of the cracker.
It's a little bit sour, a little bit dough.
You know, Kyle makes some damn good bread.
He does.
so bad.
Damn good crackers too.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, I mean, who doesn't love good cracker?
If you want to go to Parkview Field on Saturday,
Is that when they're out there?
Maybe not this Saturday, but they go to the YLNI Farmers Market.
Oh,
You can find Yeasty Boy bread everywhere. They make awesome stuff. Their cinnamon rolls, amazing.
They have cinnamon rolls
They have
now?
sourdough cinnamon rolls. They're actually, so it's focaccia.
He was talking about doing that when he was on the podcast, wasn't he?
Yeah, it's focaccia, and then they put icing on top of it, and they just do like a orange zest.
Oh, that sounds amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
He's an amazing man.
He's a good dude.
Great beard.
Good stash.
Good beard.
Yeah. I was just gonna say the same thing.
He does the whole pyre thing. Anyway.
Wait, you remember? Raj did a murder mystery with some people at Copper Spoon.
Okay.
We did the same. Remember when we did the Pirates of the Caribbean one last year, or the Pirates one? He did the same one. Kyle actually was Redbeard
Nice.
and won Best Acting that night.
He's
Does
been a
not
professional
surprise me.
Santa Claus before. He's been like
Yeah, he's an actor.
He's an actor. He's a
he
voiceover.
is.
Yeah, he's like
Classically trained.
yeah.
It's scary.
All right, but seriously, what did you make us here? Because I'm thirsty and that looks delicious.
Absolutely. So what I've got for everyone tonight is a drink called All the Fixins. It's a cocktail that, like I said earlier, was inspired by just the holiday, Thanksgiving, getting fun and weird with it. It's got some, a little bit of science involved, but nothing that you probably couldn't do at home if you really wanted to. But basically what we have going on here tonight is all the Fixins. We have Thanksgiving pretty much all in your glass, right? So don't have to worry about the lines and in-laws and all that bullshit. You can get your stuffing, you can get your turkey, you can get cranberry, you can get all that shit in your glass. So this drink is going to be Wild Turkey 101 that I have fat washed in duck fat. We're going for that turducken theme, right? So we have a duck fat washed bourbon, 101 Wild Turkey. Some of my favorite juice. I love drinking it. It's my daily drinker for sure when I'm drinking. And then we also have a Stouffer stuffing infused ginger liqueur, which is going to be Domaine de Canton, which is a Heaven Hill product, French style liqueur, great ginger flavor. I use it in a lot of things. When I want a little bit of ginger added in there, a little goes a long way if you're using it at home or anywhere really. But got some of that in there, so it's got that nice stuffing flavor. And then, this being a stirred drink that it is, I actually made a cranberry cordial. You guys familiar with cordials and cordials and all that kind of stuff? Cool. So I didn't really have the need to shake this cocktail. Typically, when you're making drinks at home or at the bar, you're going to shake things that have citrus in them typically, right? That, either like a puree or a sugar with citrus going on, you're going to want to shake that up to get a nice, mouthfeel, to get aeration, to get your chill and dilution. So with this one, you're actually able to stir it. So I actually acidified this. The cranberries weren't quite, to the balance level of acid that I needed them to be. So what I've done with this cordial, it's going to be cranberries, water, sugar, some citric acid, as well as some tartaric acid. Both of those are going to add some nice acid notes to it, right? We're talking about culinary, drink making. You got to have balance, right? Spirit, citrus, sugar, or fat, citrus, and spirit. Those three things harmonize and make a great drink. So for our sugar component, we have this cordial, tartaric acid, citric acid, cranberries, sugar, water. I wanted to use tartaric in there to kind of balance that out and give it more of that like grapey wine kind of flavor, right? You find a lot of tartaric acid in winemaking. So it has more of that like that bright, almost like sour citrus note to it, which is kind of cool, which reminds me of cranberry salad or whatever cranberry your mother-in-law wife makes for Thanksgiving. We got that. And then just a little bit of bitters to kind of bind everything. I used Angostura today. You can use some celery bitters if you really like. So that's it. Duck fat washed, Wild Turkey 101, cranberry cordial, acidified to taste, as well as some Stouffer's stuffing.
I'm so excited about that.
That sounds
They are
amazing.
not an official brand on the
No,
podcast.
yeah.
No, they're
I
not.
know,
Yeah.
but maybe they're going to see this and say, fuck, what were we thinking?
Yeah.
They really missed their opportunity.
Stouffer's the official
It's-
stuffing
It's
sponsor
good as
of
those.
Stinker Drinker Finger.
Everybody at Trader Joe's, they have a stuffing flavored kettle chips now.
Okay.
It's exactly like stuffing. It's super. I think you tried them. You tried them at my house, Troy, didn't you?
Yes,
Yeah,
yes,
those
yes,
are
yes.
freaking
yes,
weird. Anyway.
yes.
So then, for garnish here, I have some fun carbonated cranberries to go with that, you know? So they're going to have a nice little, like, you know, sparkle pop inside of there. Kind of fun in your mouth. And then to kind of accent everything, we're going to have a little bit of aromatics to go with your drink, right? It's all about the experience, three-dimensional. You know, you got something cold in the glass, all these different flavors. It's going to be depth and complexity going on. But, you know, we drink and eat with our noses, right? So I've brought some amazing oak leaves from my neighborhood in the 07 in Oakdale, here in Fort Wayne, Indiana. They did fall from an oak tree in Oakdale. Oakdale
extra oaky. Yeah.
So
Do you
it's
live
gonna
on
be-
Oak Drive?
I live on Oakdale Drive. Yes, I
Oakdale.
do.
Yeah.
West Oakdale Drive.
Really?
Yes.
Love it.
Wow.
So, yeah, it's going to have that nice fall smell. I don't know what you guys think about when you think about fall and Thanksgiving, but I think about, like, you know, chilly nights and hoodies and, you know, wearing some jeans out by the fire,
Yep.
burning leaves.
I think about wishing I lived on Oakdale Street.
Dude, come on
Yeah.
down.
I'm about jumping in leaf piles, but hey, you know, whatever.
We're just going to, nice little shower here. Don't burn your house down. Studio down. But, yeah, when we would serve this.
Love it.
When we would serve this at Copper Spoon, we actually had it in a wooden chest. So then you'd pick it up at the bar when it was ready to go, and there'd be a leaf inside. The bartender would take a torch to the guest, and then open the box, or we'd char right before they would leave. They'd show up to the table, open the wooden chest, and you have this big plume of smoke come out of the box.
Awesome.
And it had a nice little effect to it, right? It's a little engagement and whatnot. So there you are, guys.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Cheers.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it. I'm going to take this one.
Which one's the best one? You can have that one.
Take that one. I'll take one with all the char on it. Thank you. You're very welcome, sir.
I could just sit here and just smell for a while.
Oh, that surely doesn't suck, Raj.
I'm glad.
It's probably the best duck fat wash drink I've had.
I'm glad I could abide.
Well, we tried the actual 101 upstairs, too, when you were making it. That was pretty fucking tasty, too. It was weird. It had, like, obviously, it tastes like duck fat, right, initially, and then, like, it really kind of masked the bourbon, but there was, like, this weird, like, chocolate almond thing on the finish. We're not supposed to be talking about bourbon right now. Sorry. It's always on the mind. But
I'm just thinking stuffing now, and I'm just getting so much stuffing. That's my favorite part of Thanksgiving by far.
Tying it back in, we had that nice gravy back to start the night
Yeah.
off.
Yeah.
You know, so
I actually think this episode is coming out on Thanksgiving.
No way.
Yeah.
It actually might be.
Yeah,
Or
so-
at least the day after.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
It'll be Black
Happy
Friday.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Everyone,
Everyone's to you.
Yeah. Hopefully you're in the other room ignoring your family and listening to us drink.
Or, better yet, you have your family together, you listen to the podcast, you get them to become fans, go to YouTube, subscribe, or your favorite podcast platform. That's your job, Anthony.
Subscribing. Yeah.
Thank you.
Please, we do that at the end, but
All right. So, question: the sweetness from this drink is coming strictly from the Canton ginger liqueur that's infused with.
I would say you're getting more the deeper fatness of the drink, of the sugars,
And the
from
cranberry.
Canton, and then the cranberry.
And
Yeah.
the cordial. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
the cordial is going to be most of that sweet and most of that sour you're going to get in that drink.
Okay.
Is going to come from the cranberries alone. But
Yeah.
what I like about this is that it does come across a little acidic in a way.
it does.
But I think when you're balancing out the fattiness of this bourbon right now, I only let this infuse for about 24 hours in my freezer.
Okay.
With the duck fat, right? But I mean, it had all that flavor and that mouthfeel, and I can taste it. I can smell it as soon as I bring it to my nose. I can smell the fat right away.
Yep.
Which is that first, layer of aroma besides the burning oak leaves from Oakdale Drive, Oakdale Smooth. That's our catchphrase for our Oakdale neighborhood.
You guys have your oin
I'm
catchphrase?
laughing. I
we
laugh
coined
as
it
if I
years ago,
understood
yeah.
that. But
I hate my HOA
when I can plug
anyway.
that anywhere I go about Oakdale Smooth, everyone loves it. So I'll get all my great neighbors that watch the podcast. They're gonna love it.
Please
We
subscribe,
have a
neighbors.
newsletter. And, every month we get a newsletter. Every
Really?
2 months. Yeah, we get a little
Everyone
newsletter.
in my neighborhoods fucking hates each other.
So I have a good friend Nick who used to live in the 07, and like their neighborhood was like all about community. They're like watching over each other's houses when they're out of town. Like that doesn't exist. I don't think anywhere else in Fort Wayne than like in that area, like in the kind of the more historic district.
I love it, man. It's
crazy.
so good. Been there
Yeah.
like 7 years now, and best neighbors you could ask for. I mean,
Hell yeah.
Sandy across the street teaches Tai Chi in the park. They have a VW bus. They're, super great. Other neighbors, a electrical engineer, can help you fix anything. You name it, he can help you fix it. I make a mean drink, cook good food.
Walk around with the tray, like, here you go.
What we do, like the yearly garage sales in our neighborhood, right? And it's huge. So I always put like the pop-up tents up in the front yard. We sell some wares, what have you. And I'm just sitting my ass down underneath one of the tents with a lawn chair, and I've got 3 coolers out front with soda, water, and beers. And I'm just selling beers all day. I'm not really selling them, kind of giving them away for a charitable donation to a good cause. RajasLiquorFund.com.
Yeah, I was just saying.
You can contribute. Too many plugs. Anyway, no, it's a great time. It's a great time, and everyone's super chill there. So,
I love it.
This is gonna go down quick, man. No mashed potato float.
Ooh.
Like I said, this is batch 1.
Green bean casserole.
Recipe 1. I can probably make
Garnish with
revamp it.
Garnish with a green bean.
Yeah.
Some greenery would be good in here for sure.
Or some of those like French's crisp onions.
Ooh, yeah.
I'm
telling you, it could be the next version.
Yeah.
Green bean
Well,
casserole.
that's the food on the side, like a little crispy cracker, like a crispy onion, something like that. Yeah.
So that leads me to let's talk about Drink Masters a little bit. I don't think I've ever seen, and obviously, and just like you said at the top of the episode, there's such a culinary aspect to cocktails, and I think that show kind of really showcases both sides of that. Obviously, he was in a studio up in Ontario. The biggest thing I see when I watch that show, which is awesome, guys. If you haven't checked it out, Raj was recently on a show on Netflix that came out called Drink Masters. It's kind of like a reality competition type of show where, like, you see those people like
Chopped?
Like Chopped. Exactly. It's like Chopped, except it's with, bartenders and some of the best bartenders I've ever seen. Lots of inspiration grabbed from that show, honestly, which is really cool. From the first episode to the last 2, you'll find something there that you can take home with you. And I think on the next episode, I'm going to, we'll do some of that. But like, it's how does that work? Because like, all right, everyone lines up for a challenge. The judges are like, all right, here's what we're doing today. And then you're all like, all right, break. And you got 60 minutes or 2 hours. There's no fucking way. And this is what I'm thinking when I'm watching this. There's no fucking way that, first and foremost, that kitchen has everything that you're going to come up with in your mind. And second of all, that like you're going to be able to do all that in 2 hours. I feel like they have to at least tell you the day before, like, all right, here's the itinerary for the challenge. Like, if you need any special I saw, like, I'm not trying to ruin this. I saw like one episode, one of the contestants used like fresh hay, and even the judge was like, "Where the fuck did you get that?" Like, so they have to give you guys a warning of what's going on, I'd imagine, right?
Honestly, they kind of threw it on us right then and there. Like, it's not like,
so it is real in that sense.
It really was. Yeah. I mean, I can't really go into the movie magic behind it,
right.
unfortunately.
Sure.
But I think that we were the guinea pigs for this show, obviously, right? They got 12 really great bartenders together who are all creative and, skilled in their craft. And we're like, hey, we're going to do this way. There's no, our way, the highway is how it kind of works, right? So it's like, hey, you get 60 minutes, you get 90 minutes. And, we've already asked you for all these things you might possibly could need or want in the kitchen,
Gotcha.
Which they were able to get for us within reason, right?
Yeah.
I think one person asked for like a still, and the still didn't show up till like, much later on.
There was a couple episodes with a still,
yeah. So
kind of give you like a grocery list, essentially.
They did, yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
and they do that up front before you know what the challenges are.
They did. So
okay.
they
all
really
right. That
wanted
makes sense.
They did want to set us up for success for what they wanted to see happen and make it challenging for all of us involved, and to make for a good, great show visually speaking as well, and culinarily as well. So yeah, we were able to like submit like a wish list, if you were like, hey, please make sure we have this, and they know we're bartenders, so they vetted us. They know like, hey, they need the basics, the advanced level tools and things, and then like push it to the next limit, right? So like there's in our pantry there were just shelves of just like chemicals of all kinds of things you would need to do, like gastro style cocktails and food, right? That's what they wanted to see.
Yeah.
So they kind of knew that, right? And then we had our own wish list of like, hey, I want to see this, I want to see that, and then there were things that we didn't even ask for that were just there. It was great. So
that's cool.
It was stocked. It was difficult not knowing really everything was, because we didn't really get a lot of time to go in and like snoop around.
Right.
It was really like, hey, good luck. So you got like a few minutes in the pantry, a few minutes in the kitchen, took a little tour. But besides that, it's like keep it up here, like know where it's at, and don't tell anybody.
And that's got to be tough under that pressure too,
because it's all finite. Like there's really no like
if you run out, you run out.
Like,
But there seemed like a lot of camaraderie at the same time.
Thank you. Yeah, there really was.
There absolutely
which
was.
was awesome.
Yeah.
No, I'm really glad that happened. I think a lot of us were nervous, thinking that it was going to be a bunch of assholes, egos and whatever. But no, everyone was really, really hospitable and just sweet and, willing to help out, which I thought was a breath of fresh air. It really was nice. It wasn't like a lot of those like competition shows where everyone's like at each other's throats. Like,
you see those like, hey, do you have this ingredient? Everyone's like, no, go screw yourself, whatever. And every single time this in series is like, oh yeah, here you go. I got it for you.
I got some extra if you need it type of thing.
Yeah. Or people asking, hey, I'm done. Can I help you?
And you mentioned this earlier too, like you come from a hospitality background. You want to serve, right? Like that is your mentality when you're in this. So I mean, the camaraderie comes from there too, but like now you're in this new spot with all these ingredients that are there, but you don't know where they are. And yeah, maybe you got a 10-minute tour or something like that. But now the pressure's on. You got 60 minutes and you're fighting for $100,000 or whatever, right? Against people you genuinely like. And you got to not only be creative, but be timely and all that shit. When they give you a tour of the kitchen, it's gone, right? I would totally blank. And
oh yeah, there's so much on your mind. You're thinking about your recipe. You're thinking about what you're going to make. Yeah. Like, did I see this? Did I see that? Where is the milk? Where is that garnish? Like,
what kind of milk is it? Yeah.
Yeah, they had all kinds of different milks, honestly. They had cheese and kinds of good stuff. But also, like glassware and presentation is a big part of the show. If you already got a chance to watch it,
they had some interesting glassware on that.
Yeah, a lot of cool choices for presentation and like trays and platters and all this stuff, right? Well, there's only so many of those things. I mean, they couldn't get us a whole showroom of options, right? There's 12 of us to start. We're making 3 to 4 drinks at a time. So you do the math. That's a lot of glassware. It's a lot of stuff to make a good presentation. So that's part of the fun of the game is like, do I pick out my glassware presentation stuff first, or do I go grab the ingredient I need first? It's a game, right?
Yeah.
So you pick your battle. Like, do you have a good idea for a drink that you need this ingredient for, and you don't know if someone's going to be nice and share and play nice, or you go grab your plates and your glassware first, because then you have like the best looking glassware. So,
but then you're missing ingredients.
Exactly. Yeah. So it made it challenging.
Or your cocktails out of balance. Or like maybe arguably one of the most important parts of the whole thing. Yeah.
2 other things. So, and these are just general questions that I had while I was watching the show, and I binge watched the show. I think I finished it in 2 days.
My wife and I were just watching. We're like, oh my god.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my wife always watches and we'll put like the fucking the cook shows on in the background when we literally are just like drained from having a long weekend, or the Giants beat somebody and I'm half drunk on the couch and we just need something on while we're waiting for Brooklyn to go to sleep or something like that, right? But like, obviously there was it was basically shoulder to ceiling, and that was like a 30-foot ceiling in that studio or that bar.
It's huge.
With liquor, right? There, it seemed like you pretty much had anything at your disposal. I did notice that I think there was probably a couple sponsors, and if you can go on this or you can't, but like obviously I think Rabbit Hole was a sponsor because I felt like people were grabbing Rabbit Hole when they were making drinks. But like I noticed a few times too, and I don't remember what contestant it was, but instead of using like the name brand of the spirit or the liqueur or the Amaro or the bourbon or the vodka, they would just be like, this is an aperitif, or an aperitif, this is a bitter aperitif, or this is an Italian digestif. And like, instead of just saying this is Averna or this is, Aperol, or like, is there like something contractually there that you can't name the name of something? Or
I don't know if that's an actual contractual legal thing, honestly. I know being in competitions before that are sponsored by a big portfolio or a big brand.
Yeah.
It is acceptable to call those things by their actual style of spirit. So like, Italian Amaro or what have you. They don't mean saying Campari or Averna if they're not a part of the portsolio of that sponsored brand that's paying all the money for this to happen, right?
It makes sense.
Yeah. I was also wondering if maybe it was like from an educational standpoint. It's like, hey, a lot of these viewers probably have never heard of.
I think so as well.
Yeah. And it's like, explain what this is that you're using, because the normal person at home.
Yeah, if you just say a thing, like say Aperol, it's like, what? I don't know what that is.
What is Aperol?
Yeah, whatever it is. Yeah.
Do they have Aperol at Applebee's for
Aperol Bees? Yeah,
yeah, Aperol Bees.
They had Aperol. It was never touched.
You never made any spritzes over there.
What was the #1 bottle touched in Applebee's?
Jack Daniels.
Ooh.
I'm just gonna guess Jack or
Applebee's
or
Jack was probably up there.
or Evan or Jim.
Jim, yeah, there was no Evan.
Sour mix? Or like,
Oh yeah. Oh,
I
yeah.
was gonna say it's not
it's
like
got to be some sort of mixer,
Yeah.
right?
It's like the finest call, simple, and
Yeah,
then
yeah,
you
yeah.
know the, you know, rocks or whatever mix we'd make for
Yeah.
you know those drinks.
You
It's
made
been a long time.
Applebee's allows you to make the mix.
No, they're pre.
Okay, I was about to say. I was like, wow,
Pre-done?
new respect for
Yeah.
Applebee's.
When's the
right
last
there.
time you've been to Applebee's?
I was at Applebee's in Point Vedra, Florida, in March of 2022.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Yeah, I was actually a guest bartender for the PGA Tour for the Players
That's
Tournament
awesome,
down
okay.
there. And our
Dang.
hotel was within walking distance of an Applebee's. I was open late. So I got in late from the airport. Had some rigmarole I had to deal with at the airport when I got there, which kind of sucked. And I was like, I just need, like, you know, something to put in my mouth to eat and a
And
quick
the
beer.
perfect margarita.
Isn't that Applebee's slogan, Raj? Eating great even late. Isn't that Applebee's slogan?
No, it's Neighborhood Grill. Isn't it
what is-
Neighborhood Grill?
what's-
I don't know if it's eating great late or
Oh.
Eating great in the
Eating good in
neighborhood.
the neighborhood? Is
Eating
that
good
what
in
it
the
is?
neighborhood.
Yeah,
Same.
there we
Eating
go.
great
Yeah.
even late.
Applebee's,
I don't know.
sponsor us, please. Thank you.
Yeah, I'll never call you Applebee's ever again. All right, other follow up question.
Okay.
All right, so you're in this moment. You got 60 minutes or 2 hours, whatever it is, to make this drink. You got this challenge in front of you, and then there's 12 of you, especially like in the earlier rounds. There's 12 of you, and 3 judges. And while you were making us this drink, we were talking about dilution and stirring and proper uses of ice. And I'm assuming, like, all right, in this competition moment, you're finishing your drinks. Time's up, hands down, right? Now you got to sit there with this drink that you just spent 2.5 hours making. Well, it's in a glass, and by the time it gets to the judges, it's either warm or too diluted, or
If you're going 12.
like how does that even? They have to like consider that, I would imagine.
It is considered. I cannot confirm nor deny
Okay.
how that drink
I
is
see.
then consumed. I only made the drink.
Got
so,
Interesting.
it is. Television's a beautiful medium for
Yeah.
all kinds of things. There's things like, competition shows and animated series that are, animated and great. And I don't know how those work, but I can say that I was on a show on Netflix and it was real.
Have you ever thought about politics?
Like I said earlier, I listened to like a lot of podcasts.
Raj
like Team
for
Coco
president,
and
2024.
Conan O'Brien needs a friend
Yeah,
or whatever.
yeah,
And I think
yeah.
he does like one of the best like JFK, like those like that voice, that whatever it is. I love it. And I'm just like, I could do that, but I can't do that.
Sorry,
love
did you
that.
say Conan O'Brien is a friend or whatever?
Is that the name?
No.
It's podcast.
Conan O'Brien, his podcast.
Oh,
yeah,
okay,
Conan
okay,
O'Brien
okay.
needs a friend.
He's just casually name dropping
Sorry,
Conan O'Brien.
I bartend at the PGA Tour. Conan's my homie.
I mean, maybe he'll have me on the show. I don't know. He's had another
Hey, Conan,
know,
sponsor us. There you go.
good guys. You never know.
Yeah.
That's very interesting. So, like,
But I just honestly, I can't tell you.
I get that. I
inside
totally get
secrets or
that.
whatever,
Yeah,
but-
totally get that.
Right.
I've got one question,
Yes.
maybe more later.
Oh,
but,
boy. All right.
The New York Sour, in your experience, does that cocktail traditionally contain orange juice?
I was wondering the same thing, because the judge, when she listed it, named it with orange juice. She said it was one of the typical
And it
things.
was in the description. I'm just curious. I'm just curious.
I've never had a New York sour with orange juice before.
To answer your question, Troy, I cannot confirm nor deny if there is orange juice. No, honestly, I have never put orange juice in my New York sours.
Yeah.
And you know what? And that's what we were talking about earlier about the knowledge bit about being a bartender and making drinks at home. When you buy literature out there that's like these great cocktail books that have great recipes for you to like start with, right? There probably was some bartender at some hotel in Europe or America somewhere that made the New York sour the first, second, third time. It was like orange juice. And that just kind of became the thing, right?
It doesn't sound bad.
It doesn't sound bad, right? I mean, typically I make mine with lemon, not orange.
Well, that's the thing.
That's
Like,
just me.
you just wonder if the acidity from like red wine would maybe balance out the orange, because typically you get a little bit more of that with a lemon juice and bourbon.
I've always known it to
whiskey
be
or
a
rye or
whiskey
whatever.
sour with no egg white,
Right.
with a red wine float.
Yep.
Amen.
It's that simple.
Amen.
Exactly.
brother.
That's it. you know?
Exactly right. Yeah.
So whether it's going to be served on the rocks in a rocks glass, whatever, and that's how I typically would make it.
Yeah.
Right. Something that I always love to do, and I want to do this here sometime soon when I'm behind a bar again, is have the luxury to take that list of classics that we all know as bartenders. In my brain, there's like maybe 115, 20 by name that I know pretty much how to make. Obviously, I go back to like, the sheet to find out, exactly what was going on. But it's always fun to revisit those recipes of like, who made it this way, who made it that way, and just make it that way and then tweak it and change it.
Yep.
That scientific method of like, okay, drop the acid by 1/4 ounce, drop the sugar by 1/4 ounce, and increase this by 1/4 ounce, and like try it and say, hey, this to me tastes better. How's it taste to you? And that's how like things take off and things change and they evolve. And now people are making this drink this way because this is how everyone else is doing it.
Yeah.
Right. Jeffrey Morgenthaler is a great example of that, where he makes an amaretto sour, and everyone's mom, dad, grandma, aunt, sister has had an amaretto sour, and they're all a little bit different, right?
Yeah.
Whether it's Disaronno, whether it's this or that, there's different ways to go about making that amaretto sour, right? So I feel like it's fun to be able to like experiment and make these things differently based on how you like it, you mentioned before you guys are into the Italian aperitifs and amaros and pastas and Olive Garden and things of that nature.
Yeah, you couldn't catch me eating my own ass in the parking lot of Olive Garden, but okay.
Dude, that is Italian, okay? They are
It's real Italian.
That's real
Someone
Italian.
got married there. I saw it.
They
Anyway.
have soup, they have salad, they have breadsticks.
Unlimited
And
breadsticks.
that is Italian, okay?
I'm gonna cordially invite you over to a day where me and Troy make you actual Italian food, because you're from Tennessee, right?
I'm from the volunteer state, yes, sir.
Yeah, me and Troy make the best Italian food in 700 miles in every direction of this space.
Can vouch. He makes a pretty mean Italian meal.
Yeah.
I saw an RV on Facebook Marketplace last night for sale that I can't afford, and I thought about how far I could get in this RV on a full tank of gas, and you said 700, and that was exactly the mileage I could get one direction in that RV.
So
I
here's
thought
what
that was
here's
really
what we do.
This
You
is-
make Italian food. He drives 700 miles in an X direction and tries Italian food there and see if it's better.
I mean, I'll send him right to the motherland. I mean, well, if he goes, honestly, like the mom and pop pizza shop with like rats on their tables is better than the food around here.
All right.
Sorry. Anyway, moving on. Let's talk about this drink. This was fucking fantastic.
Do you like it?
Yeah, I did.
Great.
Very
Yeah,
much.
very good.
Very much
Yeah.
so. I thought it was very balanced. The sour aspect of it.
It is acid heavy.
It is, which
sour,
I know,
right?
which I know you like.
Exactly.
You're an
This
acid
is a
head.
Troy drink.
And I am an acid
Yeah,
head.
and I mean, I am not turned off by it whatsoever either.
Was it sour like in a thirst quenching way, or sour as in like a
Mouth
like
puckering.
puckering, like
The former. Yeah.
okay?
Really, I'm going the opposite. I'm going
Really?
the latter. I'm going puckering. I mean, it is juicy and it kind of cleanses your palate a little bit, but it definitely is that like ooh.
It
like, I could
piques
use
my
more.
it piques my my appetite, basically. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, and then like just like the sugar layer of it with the cordial that you made. I mean, it's just perfectly there. The fat washed bourbon is on the nose. It's especially when the drink's a little fresher.
Was that literal or figurative?
What do you mean?
Was it on the nose like he nailed it, or on the nose like?
Oh, both. Yeah, you nailed it. We tasted it upstairs. It was very good.
I mean, I can still smell it. My glass is pretty much empty now, but I can still smell
Exactly.
that,
Like
that
you
fat
can tell
in
it's
there.
like the highlight of the drink. But I don't know, man. Great job. This is obviously a drinker.
Yeah, we do have to rate it.
It's a drinker to
We
me.
do indeed.
I was actually going drinker thinker personally.
Same.
I mean, yeah. I was thinking more about what he was saying.
Yeah.
So maybe I could have thought about it more. Hey, can you do me a favor? What were you doing with the actual cranberries? You did something up there with them.
Oh,
Did
yeah,
you say you
yeah.
carbonated them?
Yeah, I carbonated those in an ISI whipper. So it's a fun little like party technique. You can do it at any kind of party you want to do it, or just however you want to do it. But yeah, just taking like a ISI whipper that you make like creams with, like whipping creams and whatnot.
What does ISI stand for or mean?
I
Just the type.
cannot tell you what that means.
He can't. He'd
I
have to
don't-
kill you if he.
I
told
only
you.
know it as an ISI. I think it's not the brand name, but it's what it is.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
millions of them. They're
Yeah.
at different price points. It's
Yeah.
weird.
Thank you for-
Integrated solution.
Thank you for that answer.
Yes,
integration.
sorry. I'll be honest. If I don't know the answer,
You know what's
I won't
funny
tell
is
you.
Troy is supposed to be
bullshit
like
as I can
Troy.
if I don't
Troy
know
is
the
supposed to be
answer.
the smart one on this podcast, and when we ask him questions and he doesn't know, we give him shit like that.
Yeah.
So he finally got to do it to somebody else.
love it. Yeah, bring it.
It's a beautiful thing.
I was going to talk about this nice cardigan because I had that exact same cardigan at home. And I almost wore it tonight, but instead
that
I
would've
wore
been
black and white
amazing.
I know.
colors.
I,
Yeah.
I, seriously,
been-
I know
that
like a
would've been great.
dozen other people who have the same.
Dude,
same.
I love
yeah.
cardigans.
Yeah.
Anyway, no, I It's an ISI whipper. I mean, in bartender lingo, like that's just what I call it. It's an ISI. I don't even call it a whipper. I'm like, hey, like, where's the ISI? And they know what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But no, I took the fresh cranberries, put them in there with a little bit of water. You can use cranberry juice. You need some sort of liquid in the canister itself to force the carbonation into the actual fruit itself, right? Because the membrane and the skin of the fruit is so thin, it's easy to push gas through that. So using the ISI whipper canister, using some CO2 cartridges, I was able to expel all the oxygen out of the container, put the cranberries in there, get the oxygen out, and then carbonate it with water and CO2. So then once they're ready, typically about 24 hours in the fridge is like ideal. If you do it shorter than that, they're not going to stay as carbonated for as long. But yeah, take those out of there once they've been carbonated, put them on a skewer, put them in your drink, and they're going to be fizzy inside.
Yeah.
You know, it's not sort of like, you know,
great
mouth
texture.
tingler,
It was cool.
tingling
Yeah,
texture,
totally.
mouthfeel thing.
Yeah.
Just another elevated thing in your drink. You know, it's not just something wet, liquidy, and cold in a glass. It's now aromas. It's now liquid. It's now texture and mouthfeel. It's fat. It's everything. You know, one thing really missing is music, but you can put on the Charlie Brown
So a
soundtrack. for
Bluetooth speaker
Thanksgiving.
in every glass and just hit a button. Yeah.
People do. I've seen it. They have like, you know, music playing coasters now, like the cards you get at Target. You know,
Really?
Put the card up and it's like plays a song.
Take the glass
it's a
off the
coaster.
coaster,
Yeah,
yeah.
They really. I've seen them. Yeah, you take the drink off. It's like all pressure
That's
sensitive.
4D right there. Yeah.
It's and that's what it's about.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, that's how the scene has kind of come around now. People are getting starting to get creative with sensory and how to make this an experience. You know, we're not just drinking our Jack and Coke or our Southern Comfort.
It's a great thing though, man. It really is, because I think it invites a whole new audience to actual elevated drinks and things like that.
Right. If I go to a bar, I want something that I can't make myself,
Yeah.
or I don't know to make myself. Like that's the reason I go out, is to have an experience like that. So yeah.
I guess I'm a little different, and maybe you two are think this way too. If I go somewhere and it's something extremely interesting on the menu that I've never heard of, or it's like, wow, that sounds out there, I absolutely order it and see if I can make it myself, type of thing.
Yeah.
Um,
I know my limitations currently.
well, you're still an intern.
I'd say,
you're
yeah.
still an intern. That's fine. Yeah, man. Thank you very much for this.
It was very good.
My pleasure.
Yeah, he's gonna join us for another episode, guys. Do you have any like socials or anything that you're like trying to blow up or promote or anything like that?
I don't market myself well. I don't promote myself very well. It's just a thing that I just don't do. You know, I've always been just even keeled and humble about all of my accomplishments and things that I do. And that's kind of who I've been. So, but with this going on, I think it is a little important to mention that, yes, the show Drink Masters is on Netflix. Came out on October 28th. Definitely check it out. 10 episodes, 40 minutes apiece. Very easy to watch. It's very funny. Host Tone Bell, stand-up comedian, is pretty damn funny.
Yep.
So check that out before the end of November. It'll be ideal. There's some chances of having a second, third season based on obviously how well
nice,
the show
okay.
does right now. So if that happens, there might be a revenge season where people get to come back and say hello.
That'd be badass. I was gonna ask you
You
about
never
that.
know who it could be.
Yeah, that'd be badass, man.
Could be
Rooting
me,
for you if you're
could
on
be
there.
Somebody else, who knows?
I was like,
could
I
be
felt
anyone.
like
could be anyone.
I felt like
Could be
Will
Troy.
Ferrell and Elf. Like I was like sitting on my couch and I just like literally put that show on to be in the background, and then like I heard Fort Wayne and I looked up. I was like, I know that dude. Like he tosses the Negronis. He throws them in the fucking air. Yeah, I will never forget that. You literally blew my
That's
mind.
amazing.
I've told that story on this podcast.
Yeah, I actually did. Yeah.
And I was like,
Long time
and I
ago.
had to be the annoying guy at the bar that night, man. Because me, Troy, and our buddy Zach, who was an awesome bartender too from New Jersey, flew in. We wanted to show him a good time, so we took him to the
What
Spoon.
part of New Jersey? What turnpike?
That's not that joke sucks.
Does that suck? Really?
not a joke.
That's not
Yeah.
even my joke. That's a joke from my bartender friend Carl, who I
See?
used to work with. That
Everyone's like,
he's
hey,
from
hey,
there.
what
Yeah, he's
exit?
like, what exit you from,
Yeah,
buddy?
yeah.
And it's just
I
like,
just thought
I'd
I thought that was a genuine question. I
No,
would answer it
no,
genuinely.
no. We're from 8A. If anyone wants to know, yeah. Anyway,
8A.
yeah. So
I didn't
from-
think about that.
Yeah, South Brunswick. He was a bartender at Rutgers, like in a town called New Brunswick, which is like Rutgers University.
Yeah.
Exit 9.
Which is exit 9. But we brought him to the Spoon, and man, like I told you before, everyone's doing their job, and that girl Alyssa was working that night. She actually
she's
was
great. I love her.
yeah, she was awesome. And she was kind of like serving us, making us like the drinks that she could make, but like you can just tell that whole place revolved around you. And this is not me like trying to tug on you a little bit, but like you're there, you're running the show, like you have command, you have an audience. And I don't, and you know, you talk about being humble and things like that, and it shows. You're definitely a humble person. So there was no arrogance involved in anything you were doing, but like, it's just like, especially for people like us who appreciate that kind of work. It's just like, man, we're like sitting there, and Alyssa's like, do you want him to make you a drink? And I was like, yeah, I do. And then like, I forgot what I ordered, but you started tossing this thing, started fucking going, and I was like, dude, Alyssa, he's gonna, I was like, hey, what are you doing? And you're like, we toss all of our Negronis here, sir. And you're just like, sir,
exactly like that.
And I'm like, where's the ice? Like,
sir,
yeah.
Excuse me.
sir,
I will toss your Negroni any day I want.
I'm throwing your Negroni, sir. Can you please calm down?
Yeah.
Please, there is no standing room, sir. Please have a seat.
Yeah.
Sir, do I need to call your ride? Sir.
Oh, man. Yeah.
No, I appreciate that very much, sir. Anthony, you are one of the best guests we've ever had, and
appreciate
we do throw. They do throw all their Negronis there. I'm pretty sure still to this day.
Was that a you thing, or was that something that you picked up
it was,
there? Or?
It was just a spec that we decided to do. We had done some experimentation on stirring versus throwing a Negroni. Typically, it is a stirred cocktail, but through my former coworker Carl would laugh at this, but there was a lot of deliberation whether or not there was a difference in the aeration and dilution of throwing a drink like a Negroni versus stirring a drink like a Negroni. If there's any difference, so there was a decision made that we would now throw all Negronis, and that's what they did, and that's what we do. And
how did you practice that? Water,
tins, and water. Yep, tins and
More
water.
like
I need
different
to-
strainers.
More like a Nethroni.
Yeah.
I need to pitch one thing here real quick. We did a stirred cocktail night. We're going to do shaken. We need to do thrown cocktail night.
No, I'm not doing that in my house. We can do that one at yours.
If you want to have me on for that, I'd be
Oh my
happy
God,
to
you're welcome back anytime.
you're welcome
do some
back anytime.
teaching or
That would be awesome.
On
I
that,
would love. I actually
We'll
was
put
going to
our
ask
first
you to
OnlyFans
teach me
video.
how to do that, but I didn't want to have free
I'd be
drinks
happy to,
first.
yeah.
Yeah, thrown on a.
So is there ice in one of those tins while you're doing that?
Yes, there
How
is
the
ice in
hell
one of
do
those
you do
tins.
that? That's
So,
what I was in shock about.
One of the big keys is having the proper strainer for that technique
Okay.
of drink making, right?
Okay.
So either an old-fashioned strainer is what it's called, or you can actually buy legitimate throwing strainers that are out there.
Interesting.
There's like, I've dealt with like 3 or 4 different models of these strainers, but yeah, they work like a Hawthorne strainer. Familiar with a Hawthorne strainer? Very similarly, but they have the holes in them, so you actually can like dump your liquid back into the tin that has the ice in it, so then you can repeat the process over and over.
That's cool.
Because typically when you're throwing a drink, you want to do about 8 to 10 times, depending on the ice you're using and how much dilution you need, how cold you want it. All those things are always involved. So yeah, you have that certain strainer to help you keep the ice back, but the liquid can then move freely. That's how that'll work out.
Yeah.
But yeah, start with water in a place that you can easily clean it up if you make a mess. Everyone spills. It happens.
Yeah.
If you can master that, then you can start throwing fire and doing like blue blazers and throwing hot liquor.
You're coming back. You're coming
Holy
back for an
crap.
episode. We're going to film that one in my backyard,
I
though.
have so many ideas. I have so many ideas. Slip and slide, teaching. Okay, we have so many ideas.
It'd be fun. So
Yeah. But like the funny part about this whole story is while he is verbally assaulting me, sir, no. While he's telling me, he's like, this is called tossing. He's like, his hands are like this far apart while he's doing it, and he's just deadlocked me in the eye. Like, I get this question fucking 10 times a night, sir. But no, I'm being an asshole. It was funny though. But yeah, like you don't even have to look anymore after a while. It seems like you're just tossing shit around. It's landing in cups.
repetition,
Yeah.
you get used to it, and luckily we're indoors. There's no like breeze coming by like blowing it out this way. And
So you would
what
do
have
that
you,
as an
but-
outdoor cocktail party. Wouldn't be your
I mean, if it's a calm day, it might
Yeah.
work better,
Yeah.
But I mean, if it's outside in the grass, I don't think anyone's gonna be upset.
Yeah,
But
the
I don't
whispering
wanna
winds of shit of
waste
Indiana
any
are not gonna do
booze,
it.
Let it hit the ground, because at the end of the night, during the bar, you're the one cleaning it up. At the
You
end
do it
of
in the
night
garage
anyway.
sale, Oakdale garage sale. Just
Anyway,
I don't want to make drinks at a garage sale. I'm gonna hand out mom seltzers and dad beers.
sell beers for good causes at
Exactly.
garage sales. Yeah.
Well, we have a lot more coming up.
Yeah, happy Thanksgiving, everybody. Really appreciate you stopping by for this one. Raj, thank you very much for joining us. If you guys haven't checked out Drink Masters on Netflix yet, give it a shot. It's awesome. 10 episodes, about 40 minutes.
40 minutes.
Correct.
Yep.
Correct.
Yep, it's a good time. Like I said earlier, you'll pick up something from every episode that might encourage you to do something different at home. So it's been a pleasure to have you on here and show us some elevation techniques.
Amazing.
Pleasure to be here.
Coming up, me and Troy, the Body Viglotti, cocktail doctors number 1 and 2, are probably
Not respectively.
Yeah.
No, just randomly assigned.
No, I mean, we did a competition and I won, so you're number 2. We're probably gonna make some drinks for Raj, and he's gonna be. We're going to Cocktail University. This is where we got our doctorates.
You get to sit back and relax. I just make you cocktails and.
Yep.
I almost want his assistance.
Nope.
But I guess
no.
He's our guest. He gets relaxed.
And there's no competition involved, but like I want constructive criticism.
Totally.
And I probably should be making. We'll talk about this next episode, guys, really appreciate you stopping by. Rob, Raj. We have a little tradition. Rob.
Who's Rob?
I was yelling at my friend Rob today.
He's the one who brought the cocktail.
Raj, we have a little.
That's Conan. It's fine.
Yeah, Conan's stopping by. Are you and him are tight, right?
Friends.
Yeah. His hair's getting a little thin. I don't know. We have a little tradition here where our guest leads us out with a yodel.
A yodel.
Like a yodel.
He didn't make it. He didn't make it
Like
to the end.
like a Price is Right, the yodeling
Ooh, you can
guy
do that.
on the mountain kind of thing. You
can do whatever kind of yodel you want. We always do yodel, but you can do whatever you want to do.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just got to start it off.
We can do a 3, 2, 1, and then the next time we'll do a group one. And this is all you.
Is it like an acapella canon style, or
we can do it.
Yes.
You want to do it? You want to do a group one or the first one, or you want to do it just?
you want to start
Are
low
you
and
up
go
for,
high?
are you up for the challenge of doing one on your own?
I mean, I can do whatever. I mean, I can go low, I can go high, we can go.
How about
From the heart. From the heart. That's all I
just
say.
a yodel your brain, whatever
all
you
I
feel
say.
like doing, just a quick yodel, and then
If you're feeling free,
feeling free?
Yeah. Let's just do it together.
All right. 3, 2, 1.
Yodel.
Tricked you, fucker.
You fucking tricked me too.
Okay.